رجعين يا هوى رجعين يا زهرة البساتين رجعين يا هوى على نار الهوى على نار الهوى رجعين رجعين يا هوى رجعين يا زهرة المساكين رجعين يا هوى على نار الهوى على نار الهوى رجعين ونودع زمان بنروح لزمان نسانا على بر النسيان بنودع زمان بنروح لزمان نسانا على بر النسيان بنقول رايحين بنكون راجعين على نار الحب ومش عارفين بنقول رايحين بنكون راجعين على نار الحب ومش عارفين راجعين يا هوى على نار الهوى على نار الهوى راجعين مغرور يا هوى مغرور يا حبيبي يا وردي على صوت مغرور يا هوى مغرور يا حبيبي يا وردي على صوت نحنا العاشقين عاشقين عاشقين على نار الحب ومش عارفين نحنا العاشقين عاشقين عاشقين على نار الحب ومش عارفين راجعين يا هوى على نار الهوى على نار الهوى راجعين شكرا.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We open on page 42.
Shalom Aleichem Malochim feine. Shalom Aleichem Malochim meine. Shalom Aleichem Eltern und Kind. Shabbos Kodesh is Atzin. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Shalom Aleichem Eltern und Kind. Shabbos Kodesh is Atzin. Shalom Aleichem, gute Freund. Shabbos Kodesh is doch heint. Shalom Aleichem, alle Menschen. Shalom Aleichem, lieber Shabbos. Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. Shalom Aleichem, alle Menschen. Shalom Aleichem, lieber Shabbos.
Welcome, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's so good to see all of you here on 30th Street and everybody joining us online. Good Shabbos. We're finally here, the end of the week at Shabbos. And as many of you know, I'm just coming off of a season of final exams. I'm very grateful to be making it to this Shabbos. Last Shabbos, I was not at this point, and I was feeling quite defeated. And on the 3 train on the way here, I texted a colleague, and I asked, how can I allow this Shabbos to bring me some peace? How can I make this Shabbos serve its purpose? And his sagely advice for me was, just let Shabbos be Shabbos, and let it be for you. And then I got to CBST, and we had a beautiful service last week, and I got to have the opportunity to hear the choir's choral arrangement of Baruch Hu, which was from the Renaissance. And its beauty, both in music and in presence, allowed me to loosen my shoulders a little bit, allowed Shabbos to be Shabbos, and I came out of synagogue feeling a little bit less defeated. And my wish for you, as we begin this Shabbos, is that you can feel something similar. Notice where the tension is in your body. And then allow Shabbos to fill that space, whether it's the poetry of our liturgy, or connection with a friend, old or new, or the beautiful music that we will sing together tonight. Allow Shabbos to be Shabbos. And regardless of what you're bringing into this space, we lovingly welcome you to pray with us and to worship with us and to feel some peace. So, in the spirit of welcoming everybody into this space, I'd love to know, Who's here for the first time or the first time in a long time? Just raise your hand, give some indication of where you are, and introduce yourself. Anybody here for the first time? First time in a long time?
Not the first time.
All right. Wow, no rookies here. Is anybody celebrating a particular simcha that they want to mention to our community? Birthday over here? Yeah? All right. Evelyn said that her daughter Rebecca is getting married next weekend. And Evelyn, may I invite you to light our Shabbos candles tonight?
With the birthday girl. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
All right, you're all an experienced bunch. Please rise as you are able as we welcome in the angels for this Shabbat.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Zeitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shabbos. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And we turn to page 52 for Psalm 95.
Lechu neranena, lechu לכו נרננה לאדוני, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה, לכו נרננה לאדוני. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, נקדמה פניו בתודה. נריע, נריע לצור אישנו, מזמירות נריע לו. יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי 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 לי, יאי לי לי לי.
Page 58.
Samul Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, b'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, hariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, yiram hayam umlo, tevel ve'yosheva, neharot imcha uchaf yachad, harim yeraneinu, לפני אדוני קיווה, קיווה לשפוט הארץ, לשפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במישרים. ירם הים ומלוא, תבל ויושביה, נהרות עמך וכף יחד, הרים ירננו, יחד הרים ירננו.
Please rise and body your spirit for Psalm 29 on page 62.
מזמור לדוד, הבו לאדוני בני אלים, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, קול אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים, אדוני על מים, על מים רבים, קול אדוני בכוח, קול אדוני בהדר, קול אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסיריון, לבנון וסיריון כמו בן בימים, קול אדוני חוצב להבות אש, קול אדוני ויחשוף יערות, ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
Please be seated. L'chadodi, our prayer of welcoming in Shabbat. Allow the presence, the bride of Shabbat, to come in and fill those defeated places. Wherever the week has left you weary, allow Shabbat to fill that space and give you a taste of what it means to be whole. L'chadodi, page 66.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך הפכה. רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך חמלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. התנערי מעפר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה לך דודי, לקראת כלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי, לקראת כלה פני שבת תשתוכחי ומה תהמי, בך יחסו עניי עמי, ונבנתה עיר ערטיללה לך דודי, לקראת כלה פני שבת, שבת נקבלה, והיו למשיסה שוסייך ורחקו כל מבלייך, יסיס עלייך אלוהייך, כמסוס לב באהבה לך דודי, לקראת כלה פני שבת, שבת נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תעריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי, לקראת כלה פני שבת, שבת נקבלה. בואי בשלום, עטרת שכינה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה פני שבת, שבת נקבלה, לך דודי, לקראת כלה פני שבת, שבת נקבלה.
All right. Shabbat has arrived.
Amen.
We turn now to our Psalm of Shabbat. And today we're going to focus on the second half. Sadiq katamar yifrach. The righteous will bloom like a date palm. This part puts us into a utopian state. It allows us to imagine what it would be like to have the sun shine on our faces and not worry at all, to bask in our own righteousness and feel that the world is whole. And so on this Shabbat, I invite you to lean into that container of perfection, that container of wholeness, the container of not needing more. And I invite you to think about the last time you felt truly joyful, truly happy. Was the warm summer sun shining on your face? Were you connecting and laughing with a dear friend? Were you eating a really ripe and delicious piece of fruit or a really tasty deli sandwich? Did the Yankees win last night? All these things can make us feel a little bit more whole, but we bring those pieces of wholeness into the container of Shabbat with Lewandowski's beautiful melody and these timeless words of Sadiq Tamar. We create this container and we allow ourselves, even for a day, to feel a bit of wholeness.
Mizmor shir le'yom ha'Shabbat. Tzadik katamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yizkeh shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim vera'nanim le'hagid ki ashar Adonai soli velo
Please rise in body or spirit for the Baruch Hu on page 78.
Baruchu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 80.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני. המעריב ערבים,
Page 86.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. משפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue with the subsequent two paragraphs silently.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Our prayer of freedom, Michamocha, page 94.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלי ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך. לאדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
Prayer for peace as evening falls on page 98.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים.
God, please spread a shelter of peace over us amidst the fear, the hate, the discompassion, the fundamentalism, and the division. God, please here and in Jerusalem and everywhere in between, help us to see the face of God in one another, to see the spark of God in one another's heart. And let us join under this canopy in pursuit of justice, mercy, and peace.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני הפורס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל כל העמים ועל ירושלים.
May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day, and may this day fulfill its purpose. Please rise as you are able and turn to page 102 for Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת
remain standing, we will move on to the Kaddish and proceed into a silent Amida. I invite you to use the words on the page from page 106 to page 118. And I also welcome you to check out the poem by Marge Piercy on page 124, or to just reflect upon the meditations of your own heart. And whatever you need from this Shabbos, let it to rise up from within you and into our space. We continue now with Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה בעלמא דברה כנותי והמליך מלכותי בחייכון וביומייכון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב וימרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תאמירן בעלמא וימרו You may be seated when you are finished davening your individual prayer. Following our individual prayer, we're singing a Ladino song composed by Flori Jagoda, whose composer of bio is in the program on page 4. She was born in Sarajevo. She learned Ladino songs from her grandmother. In fact, she composed the Ocho Candelicas, which we all know and love. And she did it at age 60 years old. L'Amor is a song that compares the flowers of Shabbat to the love that we feel. Like a rose, sweet and blushing, the flowers of Shabbat. With love comes good old age. Love is like the flowers, the beauty of many colors, like the cradle with mother and child, like the prayer of Shema Israel. Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru
We've come to the moment of healing in our service on page 130. Mishaberach imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Leah, Rachel, Bilha, V'Zilpa, V'avotenu, Avraham, Yitzhak, V'Yaakov, Hu Yivarech V'Yirapeh et HaCholim. Joseph Chaim Alonso, Ricardo Aragon, Elaine Berman, Lowell Berman, Paul Berman, Ruthie Berman, Julian Collins, Annika Cooper, Barbara Grindell, Larry Kay, Jay Larinsky, Barbara Schultz, Greg Terrell, Terry Tamola, Hendrix Torino, Eliezer Ben Sarah, Ayelet Liad Bat Chaya, Batya Bat Shmuel V'Chaya, Chaya Bat Zvi V'Batya, Zvi Ben Chuni V'Shendel, Zelda Bat Chaim Shimon V'Fruma. We add these names with any names that we're holding in our community today. May they be blessed with a full and complete healing, a healing of spirit and a healing of body, together with all those who are ill among the Jewish people and among the world. May those who will not be healed on this earth be blessed with nights free from suffering and days filled with peace. May God grant strength and comfort to those who care for the sick. May God help us to find hope and courage as we face fear and loss. May all who are ill be surrounded by the love of friends, loving companions, families, and community. And let us say, Amen. I now invite up Ora Ezrahi for a prayer for our country.
Hello? Hello? Okay. Source of all life, guide our leaders with righteousness. Strengthen their hearts, but keep them from hardening, that they may use their influence and authority to speak truth and act for justice. May all who dwell in this country share in its bounty, enjoy its freedoms, and be protected by its laws. May this nation use its power and wealth to be a voice for justice, peace, and equality for all who dwell on earth. May we be strong and have courage to be bold in our action and deep in our compassion, to discern when we must listen and when we must act, to uproot bigotry, intolerance, misogyny, racism, discrimination, and violence in all its forms, to celebrate the many faces of God reflected in the wondrous diversity of humanity, to welcome the stranger and the immigrant, and to honor the gifts of those who seek refuge and possibility here, as they have since before this nation was born. Let justice well up like waters, and righteousness like a mighty stream. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much, Ora. Earlier this week, when I was teaching my Intro to Hebrew class, one of my students had an observation that blew my mind. I had never thought about it before, that the word chodesh is related to the word Kaddish because a Hebrew month starts during a new moon. And if you were to look up at the sky tonight, you'd see that the moon's just a sliver left. It's waning on its way out, and we will be at a Reach Kaddish, a new moon and a new month very, very soon. And so on this Shabbat, we commemorate the coming of this new month, and we turn to page 136. Please rise as you are able. May it be your will, Eternal One, our God and God of our ancestors, that you renew for us this month, for goodness and for blessing. May you give to us long life, a life of peace, a life of goodness, a life of blessing, a life of nourishment and sustenance. May it be a life of bodily health, a life in which is found all for the divine, a life free of disgrace and shame, a life of happiness and honor, a life of integrity and discernment, intelligence and knowledge, a life in which our heart's petitions are fulfilled for goodness. Amen. May the one who wrought miracles for our ancestors and redeemed them from servitude continue to redeem us and speedily unite our dispersed kin from the four corners of the earth. Let all Israel be committed to one another. Amen.
Rosh Chodesh Sivan Yeh b'yom Rishon Haba aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael letova.
The beginning of the month of Sivan will fall upon this Saturday night and Sunday, and may it come to us and to all Israel for goodness.
Amen.
Let the Blessed One renew this month for us and for all who dwell on earth, for life and for peace,
Amen.
for joy and for happiness,
Amen.
for salvation and for rest.
Amen.
And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
All right, we continue with Kaddish Shalom. You may be seated on page 138.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה ועל מעד ורקילותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון ויומי חון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעלם ולעל מעל מיה יתברך וישתבח ויפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשה ברכו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בעלמה ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צלות הון ובעלת הון דכל ישראל קודם ובהון די ושמיה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום ממרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
I'm so excited to invite up my teacher and my mentor to use her full voice to deliver some words of Torah. Rabbi Kleinbaum, the bima is all yours.
Well, some of you know that Randy and I live in Inwood, which has a lot of beautiful parks. Wednesday morning, I went for a long, beautiful walk in the woods, and then the allergies hit me. So my voice is a little weaker tonight than usual, and I'm hoping I'll make it through the drash. So hang in there with me. Don't worry, I've got a pocket full of cough drops. I just did a whiff off of Randy's inhaler. I've been guzzling cough medicine all day, and here I am. I shouldn't waste too many words on the drush. Okay, here we go, the drush. Okay. This week, the Shabbos, is the last Shabbos before Shavuot, which comes this coming Thursday night. You're all welcome to join us. We have a CBST track at the JCC on the Upper West Side, along with 1,500 other Jews of New York City. And this Shabbos, we always read this parsha of Bamidbar. This begins the description in great detail of what it's like to be in the desert, of what it's like to be in the wilderness, of what it's like to not know what the path ahead is, of what it's like to be uncertain of how to live. The model that is given to us in this journey from Passover to Shavuot, and indeed of the whole Chumash itself, is that the journey through the desert to reach a promised land, maybe not the promised land, but even a promised land, is a very long journey. And this model that's given to us teaches us to focus on the journey itself and not on the destination. And that is a lesson we have to learn over and over again in our life. That we're not on diversions from what life is supposed to be. And that somehow if only we get to there, that will be life. But we're doing it. This is the life we have, whatever it is. This is the journey we're meant to be on, whatever it is. And we're so aware of the ways in which we might not, although we're out of maybe the worst of being an enslaved people like the Israelites were at this moment of the journey, we are all so individually and collectively very far from redemption, no matter how much therapy we've had. We are so aware of how great the distance is in front of us. And it's easy to feel a little despair, or maybe a lot of despair, and hopeless and helpless. And it's true both about the national stuff, and you've all heard me talk for many years, and sometimes my voice is stronger than it is now. But if there is Torah I have to teach, it is this Torah that I need to learn, and so you're listening to me learn it over and over again. The journey is the point, and we don't know where we're going. And we hope it's better as we take one step in front of the other, but there are no guarantees. The only thing that makes life worthwhile is the people we choose to go on that journey with. How we manage to wake up each morning and say, you know what, I'm going to embrace this day as the important part of the journey. And it's easy to look around in both our own lives and in the political universe and to see things that make us want to withdraw from our own life, from other people, from the world. And this is my teaching for myself and for all of us over and over again. And as I'm entering into 13 months until I step down in this role, it's a message I have to teach over and over again. We're on a journey that we don't know where the end is. And anybody who says they do, they're selling you a bridge in Brooklyn. It's our job to make this journey meaningful each day with whatever we have to do, whatever our limitations are, whoever our parents, our grandparents were, whatever terrible relationships we've had, whoever we've been, whatever addictions we've struggled with, each day we wake up anew. Anew, but with all of that behind us. That's the miracle of being a human being. Looking around the world in which we live, how do we keep finding ways to respond that don't just crush us? And I want to give you an example, a very specific example. Today is Yom Yerushalayim, or Friday was Yom Yerushalayim, ending on Shabbat. It is the Hebrew date of the day during the Six-Day War when the paratroopers broke through into the Old City arrived at the Western Wall, and Jerusalem was, depending on your political perspective, united. And from 1967 to today, Jerusalem has been under Israeli Jewish rule, and access is unlimited to the Western Wall for Jews, as we know. So 56 years ago, the Israeli army reached the Kotel, and the celebration throughout the Jewish world was passionate. It was a release of incredible power. And for those of us who were alive and conscious at those moments, we knew that the months leading up to the Six-Day War, there was tremendous anxiety about whether Israel would be wiped off the earth. That was the energy in May of 1967, as we knew the armies were forming and the attack was going to take place. There was tremendous anxiety. So when the Israeli army reached the Kotel, there was a tremendous, all over the world, expression of joy, and it was a miracle. Jerusalem Day became a national holiday in Israel, Yom Yerushalayim. Great debates whether Hallel is even said. Some religious Jews say yes, some say no. But this year, Jerusalem Day is celebrated the day before because of Shabbat. So if it lands on a Friday, it's never celebrated on Friday. So it was celebrated yesterday. So how is it celebrated? How's my voice doing? Can everybody bear this? Okay. I might need another whiff, Randy, of the inhaler. See, it pays to have a wife who's an asthmatic. I hope there are no doctors here. You're not supposed to do that. Don't do this at home, okay, people? Don't do this. Okay. So it was celebrated yesterday in Jerusalem, and there are beautiful parts of Jerusalem Day. For instance, Ethiopian Jews, it was the date that is celebrated in Israel every year to commemorate the thousands of Ethiopian Jews who were killed or died on the route from Ethiopia to Israel in Sudan. And so it's a huge Ethiopian celebration, even though it's commemorating the deaths. It's a big expression of Ethiopian Israeli pride and consciousness, very important. But what has it become in Jerusalem itself? I'm going to say a few words, and then, Jason, we're going to show a few photographs, but let me speak first. There's been developed over the last several bunches of years something called the Flag March, in which young, mostly teenager, religious Jewish teens go through the old city with Israeli flags, chanting things like, "Death to the Arabs," "Mohammed is dead," "Your villages should burn." And they go through the old city very aggressively and violently, often attacking Palestinians who are in the streets and throwing things and attacking the stores and merchants who are found there. In fact, all the Palestinian shops have to close up. Thousands and thousands of police are there to try and do something. It used to be that this march would go from Gan Sacher, which is a park in Jerusalem, through the Jaffa Gate and through the Armenian and the Jewish quarter to get to the Western Wall. But in the year 2000, supported by Bibi Netanyahu, the Jewish supremacists in Israel, who are the equivalent, let me be so clear about this, it breaks my heart to say this, they are the equivalent of white supremacists here in America. The Jewish supremacists, starting in the year 2000, supported and encouraged by Bibi, decided that they would go through the Muslim quarter of the old city, through the Palestinian quarter, in order to say, we own you, you're here because we are letting you be here. And these chants became very common. Death to the Arabs, Mohammed is dead, your villages should burn. They're led by different groups. One of them is called Lahava, which is a terrorist organization, a Jewish terrorist organization called Lahava, which means flame or to inflame. And sadly, many of these kids are Mizrahi kids whose families are from Arab countries. They're poor, they're marginalized. Start to sound familiar? They're listening to the voices of these Jewish supremacists who are saying, there's somebody lower than you, right? Sound familiar? How do you get these young kids enraged? And they, along with settler teens and young and men in their 20s and young men, settler teens from the settlements in the West Bank may come in the thousands to go through the Damascus Gate, which is the entrance to the Old City Palestinian or Muslim quarter. The Christian quarter is also Palestinian, of course, but this is through the Muslim quarter, Dafka, to go through and to be able to make this very aggressive nationalist. So let's see some pictures. Jason, do you have those initial pictures? And thank you to Rabbi James. So that's the symbol of Lahava, this fascist Jewish supremacist group. One of their positions is that Jews should never marry Arabs, and they attack any Jew who's married an Arab, and they attack the Arabs as well, of course, and they are Jewish supremacists, absolutely the equivalent of white supremacists. So I don't know if you could see the pictures of the mobs. This is from yesterday, going through the Old City. Next. So you could see the young teens and their facial expressions. Keep going, let's just go through these pictures. And here they are attacking a Palestinian in the Old City. Keep going. And you see they're all religious. And you see the t-shirt says, "Death to the terrorists," because the formula, the equation is all Palestinians are terrorists. And so that's a death to the terrorists t-shirt. And then you can see here's can you imagine this as a Jew look at this symbol? This is a very popular symbol for this Jewish supremacist group, a Magen David with a, one of those automatic weapons. Go ahead. So you can see this is from maybe CNN, I'm not sure, what, BBC? And you can see they're shouting, "May your villages burn." This is yesterday. Okay, thank you. So how do you respond to such hate in the name of our religion? This is being done by religious Jews, attacking real human beings and doing it. Remember, we were rejoicing in 67, but how have we come to this? How do we deal with these feelings of disgust? Well, there are all different ways, right? One way is to completely separate from Israel and feel like, oh my God, curse on all their houses. And impossible to say, well, all Israelis must be racists. So, I want to tell you a story about one Orthodox Jewish man named Gadi Givaryahu. So Gadi is an Orthodox Jewish man. And when he saw things happening where there were attacks by Jewish terrorists on Palestinians, when the Jewish terrorists would go and attack a Palestinian, if there had been any attack on anything Jewish, so let's say there was a horrible terrorist attack on a Jew, the Jewish terrorists would go and burn down an olive field or attack any Palestinian that they met simply to have a eye for an eye, but not at all the person who was responsible, just attack anybody who was Palestinian. And they would paint on the doors or on the walls of a house or on the near where they did these attacks, they would write the words in Hebrew, Tag Machir, which in Hebrew means price tag. Tag is actually the English word tag, but pronounced in Hebrew it's tag. So Tag Machir, which is if you go into a store, it's a price tag. It's the same thing that would be on a coat, if you're a jacket, if you're buying it. Tag Machir is a price tag. But these Jewish terrorists would use the phrase Tag Machir every time they attacked a Palestinian to make them pay for any attack on a Jew. Any Palestinian, any family, and many horrific attacks have been done with the Tag Machir graffiti always found. So Gadi, remember, an Orthodox Jew, said, this is not my Judaism. So he organized a group and called it Tag Me'ir. Again, sounds kind of similar, but instead of price tag, Sorry about this. You can hear me though, right? Instead of price tag, tag me'ir means, me'ir is to enlighten, or to make light, or to create light, L-I-G-H-T, light, not make light, that kind of light. So me'ir, like from the word or, light. So he created a group called Tag Me'ir, a light tag, how to create energy of light instead of a price tag. And thousands of people are now members of Tag Me'ir. If a Palestinian is killed by a Jewish terrorist, they go make a mourner's visit. If there's been an attack on a mosque or a church, and by the way, they're escalating since this new government especially, they go to that mosque and they go to the church and they make a visit. And they say, not all Jews are like that. We respect you. We want to meet you. They sit and talk to them. And then 9 years ago, they were so upset about what was happening with the flag march on Jerusalem Day that Gadi and this Tag Me'ir group, which, by the way, you can find on Facebook in English. They have a wonderful English Facebook page. You can follow them and see the things that they're doing. Anytime something horrible happens, they say, our job is to spread light. So, on the day of Jerusalem Day, when these Jewish religious teens, these Jewish supremacists, run through with these flags screaming these horrible things, what does Tag Me'ir do? They take hundreds of Jews, Israeli Jews, and they take flowers, and they distribute flowers throughout the Muslim quarter. And let's look at some pictures of, this is from yesterday also. So what are they doing? They're going through, can you see the photographs, everybody? So you can see they're going through with flowers instead of spreading hate. This is yesterday. This is not some fanciful idea. Next picture, you'll see pictures of the Israeli Jews going through the Muslim quarter of the old city, handing out flowers. Next, reaching out to people. Sometimes they won't accept them because they're so afraid. And sometimes there's these, you'll see these beautiful, keep going with the photos. So you can see they go one by one, human being to human being, and distribute a flower. Does it undo everything of the damage that's done? No. But does it create a different narrative and provide a way to respond to this ugliness with great beauty? Exactly. So let's see the next one. So you can see, look at all those flowers. By the way, you can donate to them, which I do every year, to make sure that I help. What I can do when I hear about this is I help pay for those flowers. That's what we can do. So look at this. Look at this. This is a group going through the old city, not with hate and chants of violence and racist hatred, but with flowers and with love in very concrete ways to make sure people know there are Jews who are like this, not only Jews like that. Oh, I can't.
All the flowers in the world, if you can guarantee me that the feelings inside going to change towards us, and they will be really willing to really, be nice and really, real, not like temporarily, not just when I give the flowers. I want it to be all the time.
We all do, absolutely. The only way to do it is to create the possibilities for human experience of each other, not only of hate.
The feeling can change, like with flowers, feeling can change.
Not immediately, I'll say, and I appreciate your comments. Think about the border between France and Germany in 1943. If you were in France in 1943, could you have imagined a time where you wouldn't even need a passport to go between France and Germany like you can today because they're both EU countries? It takes a tremendous, tremendous imagination of the promised land. That's exactly what I'm describing. We're in the desert. It's almost impossible to imagine. Could we have imagined Northern Ireland changing from at all? Is it perfect? By no means, no. But when you're in the desert, imagining the promised land is what faith demands of us. When the Israelites were in the desert, all they knew was 400 years of slavery. All they knew was what it was to be enslaved by Egyptians who all they cared about was destroying them. And that's exactly what we have to do. We have to imagine the possibilities. They start with very small steps. I'm a rabbi, by the way. My Rebbitzin is over here. If you want her to respond, she's happy to respond, but... My Jewish soul. Thank you. I'll tell the folks.
The question is, if that's the response we're going to get as well, I know they grew up differently with that.
Okay, I'm gonna interrupt you here. I appreciate the comments because I think what you're describing is the fear that we can be peace-loving, but somehow the others will not be. And in my experience, the world is more complicated than we're only the good guys and they're only the bad guys. It's true, there are people on our side who are not interested in peace, and there are people on their side, and I say that very, that are interested in peace. There are good guys who are Palestinian, and there are bad guys who are Palestinian. There are good guys who are Jews, and there are bad guys who are Jews. You know what? That's the problem. Guess what? We're complicated as human beings. And finding a way from hostility and hatred into a place where there's a different narrative is hard work and doesn't happen simply. So I appreciate your comments, and I appreciate the fear.
Thank you very much, Rabbi.
Thank you. Shabbat Shalom.
I hope that we're going to succeed,
I do too. We all do. We want the violence to end. I don't think it's going to happen with more violence. And this is exactly the story of being in the Midbar. We're in the desert. We can't imagine a different possibility. We can't imagine redemption, right? We're so crushed by the evil, or in our own lives, we're crushed by our own mistakes. We're crushed by the decisions we've made that we regret or that we feel disappointed by, right? All these things crush us. What this period of the Omer tells us is we have to be able to breathe in through the desert in which we live and be able to imagine a different possibility for a future. That is hard work, and I totally agree with that. Iyyar was my inspiration, and Gadi himself, Randy and I met with Gadi when we were I'd never met him. I know his son, who is also an activist in Israel, but I asked if Randy and I could meet with Gadi. Do you have that picture, Jason, of the four of us? No? I'm not sure if you have that one. Anyway, because I'll tell you, why did I want to tell Gadi? And you ask, what impact do those flowers have? When Donald Trump was elected president, some of you remember, the Friday after the election, I went to the mosque, and what did I go with? Flowers. I said to myself, well, I've been inspired by Iyyar for a long time. How can I respond to the pain that those Muslims must be feeling? I can't change the framework. I can't change what's happening, but I can spread light. How has even our participating in that Juma welcoming changed us? Think about it, and we owe it in B'Shem Amro to Gadi and Iyyar for giving us a model, and I think it's true in our lives. What does Shiva mean? When somebody dies, you cannot undo the death. You cannot tell somebody or make the grief go away. You show up. You sit with them. That is the most powerful response we have. We can't change it, right? We can't, I have the power, or because I don't have the power to make somebody rise from the dead, I'm going to ignore somebody who's in grief. No, Judaism teaches us lehefech. Even if we sit in silence, showing up, being a witness in the moments of great difficulty has power. The Talmud tells us that when you show up to somebody's sick bed, you can't fix them, right? I mean, some people here might be doctors and can do that. I can't do that. But all of my years of being in hospital rooms and in being with people who are sick and or sometimes dying, is that our tradition says if you sit with somebody in pain or sick, 1/60th of their pain will be eliminated. Okay, I'll take it. If you sit with somebody in pain, 1/60th of their pain will be diminished. It's not everything. It's enough for me. So while we are here in the desert, we imagine that the only reality is the one that we see. We have to remember that the Torah itself is given in the desert. When we're in the middle of the Midbar, Sinai doesn't happen in the Promised Land. It doesn't happen when we're comfortable and we know what's ahead. The revelation of Mount Sinai, of Shavuot, happens right in the middle of the desert. So as we're bumbling around, not knowing where we're going, let's just remember. There's the picture. It's at Noah Satat's office, and that's Gadi. And that's when I told him the story of what we do here at CBST with the mosque. And again, he's an Orthodox Jew. He's doing this also out of his deep religious belief. Thank you, Jason. That was great. Jason's the best. Fantastic. Rick just mentioned, and the Muslims brought flowers to CBST after the massacre in Pittsburgh. So maybe the best we can do is to bring a little more beauty into the world, show up with some flowers, some music. Maybe we can create some light. And with Tag Ma'ir, we can keep spreading the light no matter what is happening in the world. Shabbat Shalom.
The magic of inhalers. All right. Thank you, Rabbi Kleinbaum. We now turn to page 140. We think about what is upon us for our prayer of Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שברא אותנו בצלמו, ונפח בנו את נשמת חיינו, שהעמיק אותנו בלימוד תורתו, וקידשנו במצוותיה. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתנדב.
Please remain standing as you are able for the counting of the Omer on page 229. Join in with me at the reading at the top of the page. I'm ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer, as it is written in the Torah, from the day on which you bring the elevation offering, the day after Shabbat, you shall count 7 complete weeks. You can count until the day after the 7th week, marking 50 days. We're about to say the blessing and count the Omer. Keep in mind that yesterday was the 43rd day of the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat haomer. Hayom arba'a ve'arba'im yom shehem shisha shavuot u'shnei yamim la'omer. Today is the 44th day of the Omer, which makes 6 weeks and 2 days of the Omer. We now continue on page 150. You may be seated. We've reached the sacred moment of memory in our service. And today, the CBST community mourns the loss of CBST member Lester Gribbetz, Zichrono Livracha, who died on May 18th. We also extend our condolences to his husband, CBST member Andy Peters. And a community memorial service will be announced and will be publicized for a later date. We also remember the yahrzeits of members George Mui, thank you, 3rd time's the charm, Robert Sinecor, Jeffrey Schumann, Charles Tyson, and family and friends, Stanley Geller, Jack Gorelnick, Jill Morris, Alexander Kopstein, Edmund Lama Clemen, Henry Berman, Adele Apple, Florence Best, Ronald Kaplan, Sylvia Morit, Beatrice Steinman, Arthur Walensky, Barbara Finn, Judah Mizrahi, Edith Siegel, Ralph Lutrin, and Jilla Namdar Simani. I invite you, if you're in the period of mourning or observing a yahrzeit this Shabbat, to share the name of who you have in mind with this community, and rise as it is your custom and you are able for Mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yama divrach yirtei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol Israel. V'agala u'yizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam omei omaya. Yiparach v'yishabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei tekudasha b'richu. Le'lam min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbichata v'nechemata. Damiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael. V'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu ve'el kol Yisrael. Ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. V'imru amen. May the one who makes peace on high in the heavens bring peace to all of Israel and all the peoples of the earth. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
May their memories be for a blessing. It's now my pleasure to invite up Regina Linder for a few announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, welcome. You're in the sanctuary on the live stream. We're delighted to have everyone together davening tonight. Thank you for a beautiful service. To Baal Tefillah, Cantor Sam Rosen, to our service leader, Cooperberg-Rittmaster, Rabbinical Intern, Adam Graubart, Joyce Rosenzweig, our remarkable music director, as always. To our greeters tonight, Bonnie and Gomez here in the lobby, to Sharon on chat, and as always, to Better Events and Jason for all things tech. Rabbi Kleinbaum, there is nobody who can teach us Torah and teach us about our world at exactly the same time, so thank you for that. Tomorrow morning, services continue at 10 a.m. here in the sanctuary and online. It will be our traditional egalitarian format, and it will be led by Cantor Sam Rosen, Larry Kay, and with a Devar Torah from Rabbi Yael Werber. At 9 o'clock, Havdalah will be on Zoom. It's a busy weekend and a busy time coming up, so I will go through things, but urge you to keep an eye on the CBST website as well as your e-news. On Sunday is the AIDS Walk. This is a tradition that has been with us for many years, and I think as we navigate through the 50th, there's barely a conversation that we have that doesn't bring us back to that subject. So please, if you can, join in, support the marchers. Shep Wanan is he's our captain, I think we're calling it, and Rabbi James is here as well, so have a word with them. There is an Aleinu study on Sunday at 11 o'clock in the morning, led by our CCRI, other CCRI intern, Eliza, and co-chair of Aleinu, Jess, for a virtual text study. You can get that information also on the e-news. Sunday is Brooklyn Pride, Brighton Beach Pride. The theme is United Against Fascism. It's being hosted by RUSA LGBTQ. That's another long-term partner of ours, so participate in that if you can. Rabbi Kleinbaum told you that Thursday is the beginning of Shavuos. You would have known that because we counted so high in the Omer tonight. There will be many people there from all different communities in New York, but CBST will have its own track. Our clergy and faculty will be doing the teaching overnight. You got a posting this week. It's all on the website. Please participate if you can. Yes, June 1st will be the first example of our new fiscal year, so that CBST's annual meeting will take place on June 1st at 6 o'clock, both here in the sanctuary and on Zoom. For those of you who are members in good standing, you will have gotten materials in the mail. You will get that repeated next Thursday. Please send in your proxies. Please attend. Ask your questions. Be aware of what's going on in a time of change. Looking ahead to Pride, I will just give you an outline of a very exciting month. Friday, June 2nd is Trans Pride Shabbat, and the speaker will be Maya Byrne. On Friday, June 9th, we will have another chapter in our journey through Rabbi Cohen's book, and Marcia, Susan, Jack Greenberg will talk about chapter 6, inscribing the text. So keep up with that. On Family and Friends Shabbat, which will be June 16th, we have Representative Gerald Nadler, an old and dear friend of this congregation, will be the speaker. And Pride Shabbat on the 23rd will be very exciting, just also because we're able to be together in a very big group, and we're able to make this one of our key celebrations for the 50th. We're really urging everybody to participate in the shout out that night and to support the shul and to recognize all the things that we have to celebrate. And I thank you for your attention and wish you Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Regina. And just a plug for Shavuot. Good things come for those who wait. 1:45 in the morning. It will be a delightful class on the legacy of my intern's namesake, Irving Cooperberg, taught by yours truly. So I encourage you to stay up, drink some coffee, have some cheesecake, and stay the night. And now I'm going to invite up Shep, our team captain, just to say a few words about the AIDS Walk.
First of all, this is the shirt you get if you raise enough money. Oh, okay. This is the shirt you get if you raise enough money. Okay, I'm the team captain, as I've been for the past few years for Team CBST. And if you want to be involved, you can check the CBST e-news and click to make a donation to any of the walkers. Or if you, at the last minute, want to become a walker, you can do, there's another link you can click onto, become a walker. And if you don't have anybody to give you money, you can support yourself. So you can sponsor yourself and be a walker. If you don't want to do any of that, you can just show up and join the rest of us on Sunday near the band shell, and the tables are all lined up. And we're in alphabetical order, so we're near the beginning, and that's where we will congregate, and there'll be entertainment. And what else? That's it, right? We'll be out in the lobby. Yeah, right. Yeah. So so sponsor me and the other walkers, and it's a fun day. And yeah, that's about it, I think. It'll be good. I do it all the time. I want to say one other thing, Rabbi, about the flowers. It reminded me of that scene in Tiananmen Square where the young guy put the flower in the, remember that? Yeah. Flowers.
All right. Thank you, Shep. Now we'll continue. Where are we at? With the Kiddush, or the first. We're so grateful that tonight's live stream was sponsored by the Gorelnik Oliva family in memory of Jack Gorelnik, Zichrono Livracha, on his 23rd yard site, missed every day. Linda Solomon and Bonnie Siegel, remembering Rita Fisher, Zichrono Livracha, and how much joy she brought us all as a mamacita. May her memory continue to be a blessing as once again we support the CBST AIDS Walk. Judith Tax and Nancy Weiner, in honor of Or Ezrachi's birthday and her exceptional commitment to CBST. Tonight's Oneg is sponsored by Or Ezrachi herself in celebration of her own birthday and in gratitude for all that CBST provides for her heart and soul. It's also supported by Marilyn Mishon in memory of my dear friend, Dr. Jill Morris, Zichrona Livracha. Lori Siegel in honor of the birthday of Or Ezrachi. Or you're getting a lot of love tonight. May the years that lie ahead be filled with health, love, and joy. And Joyce Weinstein in memory of her father, Nathan Weinstein, Zichrono Livracha, on his 18th yard site. Now it is time for Kiddush. Adon Olam first, on page 154.
Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra
for the Kiddush. Please rise as you are able in body or spirit.
יום השישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה, ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו, כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. סברי חבריי וחברותיי, לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצה בנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון, הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת עם כל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Rabbi James, you did such a great job assembling the photos for us to get a view of Jerusalem on the ground. Would you come up and do the motzi with us?
That was quick. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbos. Special.
I like peppers, you know.
Nice.